Well, okay, so if you're not choosing for the light or salvation, you're actually choosing for nothing. That's what Jesus is trying to get you to understand here. And there's no return. When you choose for nothing, you just get more nothing back. So today is lesson number 88. Another review lesson. I guess we have a couple more of these. Another review lesson. And the ideas we're reviewing are number 75, Let the Light Has Come, and 76, I am under no laws but God's. The light has come. That sounds merely like a statement of fact. If you've been, I don't really know. The truth is, I don't know how people come to A Course in Miracles. I don't know how people, why people decide to pick it up and use it. I really have no idea. I know in my case, I was told I was going to get in the midst of a revelatory experience, and in the midst of Jesus and I, in a lengthy encounter where he began to teach me the ways of salvation after I had recognized that the light had come and salvation was actually complete. I was promised that I'd get directions so as to how to use my mind, how to learn to think in a way which would no longer allow me to have to do the same thing over and over to myself. And to me, that meant, of course, the entirety of the illusion of space-time as being a reality rather than the illusion that it is. And once I saw that it was an illusion, I knew that there was a way that we no longer had to do it. I mean, Buddha talks about it as, getting off the wheel of karma. And so the idea has been around for a while. Once somebody sees this as an illusion, it's time to wake up from that illusion. And this is how we can learn to use our heart and our mind to process the situations we find ourselves, or seemingly find ourselves in this, within consciousness, the domain of the ego. And obviously the second one of today's lessons, I am under no laws but God's, is a true statement that when understood and we begin to practice it in all of our affairs, or practice it when we're given to practice it. It's interesting how, and I'm not sure I'm going to say this the right way, it's interesting how there does come situations where it's obvious that we're being given the choice to utilize our mind and make a new decision. And what's always incredible to me is when we choose, when we recognize, say, in the situation that we find ourselves in, where we feel like we're a victim of the laws of the world and there's nothing we could do about it, when we simply stop and allow ourselves to come into the understanding that we're under no laws but God's, and that, as he says, that they have no real effect on me. They have no real effect on me at all. I am perfectly free of the effects of all laws save God's. And his law are the laws of freedom. So when we apply it, when we come into a situation and we finally are up against that wall, backed ourselves into the corner where we have no choice but to utilize these principles, these lessons, it always amazes me how the leaps in consciousness, the time that gets saved There's no, in a sense, when we talked about this before, as you know, when we make one of these choices, it's like making a choice for a leap, a vertical leap from the horizontal plane of time. And there's no telling how much time gets saved in that leap, beyond the linear, the horizontal, into, a timeless instant, wherein, space and time gets rearranged based on the choice that we have made. There's no telling how much is snipped out of the equation, how much time we saved in learning the lesson that we came to learn by making that other choice. And that's always, for me, an experience that brings a tremendous amount of gratitude, because when you finally begin to recognize that you're under no laws but God's, and you begin to live by the laws of the kingdom, you'll see you become, in a sense, what Jesus taught in the Gospel of Thomas, you become a passerby. And that's a good way to look at yourself when you make these vertical leaps and let time and space simply pass by, and be rearranged based on your choice. You can pass by large chunks of space and time that it would have taken to learn these lessons, by subjecting yourself to the laws of the world until you can come to understand what needs to be understood in order to, in a sense, extract yourself from the entanglements that utilizing or thinking we're under the laws of the world have brought us. So it's always, to me, cause for gratitude when I'm in one of these positions, when I'm finally put in a position where there's a meaningful application of the choice of this, that demonstrates the great love that God has for his children, by, in a sense, allowing them the freedom to seemingly suffer in a world of space and time based on their own choice, but never once allowing that suffering to affect who they are in reality. And at any point, at any and every point, the availability of a choice that's not in the world, but is in each and every one of us to make. The spectacular nature of the loving Father, and I would say, I'd use the word, to be able to think of a plan such as this, although it's not necessarily thinking the way we know thinking. I mean, he didn't set out and devise this plan. It's a natural effect of God mind creating that allows even the laws of creation to be able to be made known and recognized, while we seem to be in a state that's other than that. It's transparent in that once we begin to know how to look through it, look beyond it. It's interesting. The light has come. There's no denying it. Many of you who have had experiences now, and I trust that many of you have along the way, in one sense, the nature of this miraculous transmission, this document of Course of Miracles, in a sense, is a worldly symbol that the light has come, but many of you have actually undergone light episodes. And hopefully, what occurred to you in those light episodes provides the motivation that's necessary for staying the course that's offered to us in the lessons and also in the text of A Course in Miracles, because you've seen the value of something that finally is real in the sense that it gives you back everything you knew everything you've always known to be true about yourself, but couldn't find it in the world the way we've been looking and the way we've been attempting to live. But underneath, you've known is true. When we have these moments, these miraculous moments, or moments of forgiveness, when the Holy Spirit, the light of understanding, enters into our mind and shows us the unreality of how we were thinking and the illegitimacy of the problems we were attempting to solve. We experience this overwhelming sense of freedom. I am perfectly free of the effects of all laws save God's, and His are the laws of freedom. Now, that's what everybody's looking for. In the world of space and time, freedom seems to be a dangerous thing because it sort of gives everybody, the ego presents it as chaos. So here in the world, the ego wants you to believe that freedom is chaos. But in reality, since freedom represents our true nature as God created us, the recognition of our freedom and the joy that the freedom brings in the experience of it shows us that because of the nature of how we are created and by who we were created, the freedom that we experience has nothing to do with what the world thought of as freedom. We're free to be whole and perfect. We're free to be wholly loving and wholly lovable. And our brother is equally free to do the same thing and be just as we are. And because of the totality of the nature of our reality as being love, there really is no conflict in it. There's nothing to conflict with it. There's no conflict within it. So the nature of total freedom is, for all, is conflict free. It's only in interpretations and perceptions where life seems to have an opposite, or life you're living seems to be able to present opposition to life someone else is leading, that conflict arises and the idea of threat and fear enter in the utilization of God's laws. We come to understand that none of that is true. And in a sense, it is true. And this is something that's very hard to teach because it's an effect, it's not a cause. And in one sense, you can't try to manufacture the effect, although we do. As we come into the certainty of who we are, and as we recognize that we are under no laws but God's, we begin to find ourselves, how should I say this, no longer attracting situations that previously caused us to be in conflict with ourselves and with our brother, because we're making an all-inclusive choice for freedom for everyone, which is freedom from conflict as well. So a lot of time to the novices when they practice A Course in Miracles, they'll read something like this and they'll think, well, wait a second, what about the other guys? That they don't. If I realize it, maybe I still will be victim. But the laws of God, as we come to know them, eliminate the ability for victimization to be part of it. So when your mind is being healed of the idea that you can be victim, when you finally are free from the need to learn through victimhood, in a sense, or the idea that, let's say, how do I put this? The idea that when your mind is free from previous thinking that you could be victim of the world around you, since they are merely effects of your own thinking, you no longer begin to attract the situations that would cause you to experience yourself as victim, because that has been removed from your memory bank and be replaced by the truth, where no one is victim of anyone and everyone is just getting the result of their own thinking, and they're the result of their own thinking when we've recognized and chosen for salvation is the assurance that salvation is complete, because at some point in time everyone will get to the limit of their ability to think their way out of the situations that they've put themselves into, and finally have to surrender, because it's in each and every mind already. The solution is within us all already, and we can decide to enact that solution at any point in time. And the fact when one of us does is the recognition that all of us can and are and will. And in a sense, that's how we bless this world. I find there's an interesting phrase here at the end of the first one. She says, "The light has come. I can but choose the light, for it has no alternatives. It has replaced the darkness, and the dark is gone." It's interesting. These would prove useful forms for specific applications of the idea. This cannot show me darkness, for the light has come. The light is in you. The light in you is all I would see. You, whoever I'm talking to out there, the light is in you. The light is in you. That's all I would ever want to see. When we see that light, it's the assurance of peace. It's the assurance of the fact that God has but one Son, and we are that one Son. I would see in this only what is there, rather than what's not there that I've been looking at. So the light has come, and I am, so therefore you are, under no laws but God's. And those laws are the laws that protect our freedom, protect us as the light of the world, protect us and keep us from straying from the kingdom and losing our way. Only in a dream can we lose our way, and we're waking up from that dream right now, because the light has come. And many of you have seen that light, and many of you want more of the light, so you're willing to do whatever it takes to leave the world of darkness behind in its entirety, simply because the world of light is a much better environment for the Son of God to live in, to exist in, to experience himself in, to create by. So today's Sunday, the light has come, and I am under no laws but God's, and neither are you. You're under no laws but God's. The light has come. Let us rejoice. Salvation is a decision made already. Attack and grievances are not there to choose. They are the illusion. They're not really there. You choose them, you choose for nothing. You've always wanted to be saved. Whatever it is you wanted to be saved from, salvation is the key. Salvation saves you from whatever it is you thought you needed to be saved from, because it shows you that you never needed to be saved from anything, because you've always been whole and perfect as God created you, and you're merely dreaming of a world wherein which you think you need salvation. It's time to let that dream go by recognizing the truth of who you are.